In this video, we are going to take a look at an example which is using preemptive shortest job first scheduling algorithm. So consider the following table of the arrival time and burst time for three processes P0, P1 and P2. So the arrival time is also given and the time required by each process is also given over here. The preemptive shortest job first scheduling algorithm is used. Scheduling is carried out only at arrival or the completion of the processes. So what is the average waiting time for the three processes? So shortest job first says that whichever process is having the shortest compute time, that process will get the CPU, but this is a preemptive. So as soon as another process has like less compute time, it will be given the CPU. So let's start. At time 0, there is only one process in the system, which is P0. So P0 is given the CPU. It runs for one time unit. So now the time that is required by it is only 8, and at this time process P1 arrives in the system. So if we compare the compute time of P1 and P0, we see that P1 has the shortest compute time. So now P1 will be given the CPU and P0 will be put in the ready queue. So P1 starts running, and at time 2, now P2 arrives in the system, but at this time P1 has run for one time unit, so it is at 3 and P2 has arrived. So if we compare the time units for the three processes, we see that P1 has the shortest compute time that is required. So P1 will keep on running and it will run for the 3 time units that are remaining, and it will complete and will be out of the system. So P1 completes at time unit 5. Now the remaining processes are P0 and P2, which are in the queue. If we compare the compute times of both of these, P0 has the shortest compute time, so it will run for 8 time units from 5 to 13, and then 13 onwards P2 will be given for 9 time units. So this is how the Gantt chart will look like. So if we now see the average waiting time for the process, for process P0, it arrived at 0, so it got the CPU at 0, but after that it had to wait from time unit 1 to 5, so the wait time was 4. For process P1, it arrived at one time unit and it got the CPU also at time unit 1, so the wait time is 0. And for process P2, it got the CPU at time unit 13, but it had arrived in the system at time unit 2, so the wait time was 13 minus 2, which is 11 time units. So if we compute the average wait time, so it is 4 plus 0 plus 11 divided by the number of processes, which is 3. So the average wait time is 5.